Hello, everybody. I am so glad you're here with me today for Conversations with the Soul. And as you can see, it's a beautiful sunny day outside behind me, and I'm so looking forward to spring. You'll be able to watch every day and see my tulips pop up. So, right behind me, about 2 years ago, I decided to start putting joy, everywhere in my life, or at least in unique and fun places, so that the joy, was there for me to enjoy. And so a couple years ago, I planted tulips and hyacinths and daffodils out in the middle of my yard behind me. And so then they come up in the spring. They're beautiful and fun and random. And then they go away before it's time to mow. So you'll be able to watch that, coming up as the seasons change, which will be a lot of fun. So today we are talking about how to get people to listen to you. Hi, Mei Tui. How wonderful to see you here. Awesome. This whole week we're going to be talking about how to get people to listen to you. And yesterday we talked about how you have to start looking for the right people, because people tend to have a lot going on and they're pretty self-absorbed. And in today's world, if you try to communicate to people who aren't in the space to hear you, hi Alicia, then you're just going to end up extremely frustrated. Hi Deb, great to see you. So today's topic is on owning your opinion, owning your feelings, owning what's going on inside of you. So when I was a kid, as you can probably tell by now, I have a lot of strong opinions about things, and I'm someone who has a lot of passion and a lot of drive. And but I was in a situation where I had to take all of that, everything that I needed to say and wanted to say, and really put it down in a little box. And so I learned great skills on how not to speak, on how not to say things. And so one of the things I've had to work through is starting to say things, starting to open up and share what's on my mind and in my heart with people, and be vulnerable. It's something that a lot of us have to work on. But one of the things that we do unconsciously when we talk to people is we're always asking the question, am I okay? Is this all right? Did I do all right? Do you like me? We're constantly asking these unconscious questions underneath a lot of what we say to people, which then will force us to talk, to do small talk, to ramble on, or to talk about things that don't really matter, that aren't close to our heart. And because of that, we talk about everything that doesn't really affect us emotionally, as strongly as we'd like it to, and we avoid all the important things until we're cornered or forced into a wall where we have to express ourselves. So what I'd like to suggest is this. One of the things that got me through a lot of the putting my voice in a box is realizing that I needed to own the fact, whatever I was deciding. I stopped asking for validation or permission even for a lot of things that I do a long time ago. Now, it's gotten me into trouble because it means that I don't communicate as much as I do. But because I've gone and I've really owned, I've said, hi, Dejan, good to see you. I've said to myself, you know what, this is what I believe, this is what I'm going to do, this is my choice, and I'm going to own it, irregardless of what anybody else thinks or feels about it. And it's none of their business. I don't need their validation. I don't need their approval. I don't need their permission. I have people ask me every so often, they say, well, who gave you permission to do that? And I said, I did. I gave myself permission to do that. So we tend to spend a lot of time trying to have those underlying questions heard, which are, as I said, am I doing okay? Am I good enough? Do you like me? Do you understand? Am I important? We keep asking these questions of people who don't know we're asking these questions. So, of course, they can't hear us because we're not expressing those clearly. I'm not necessarily saying to express your deepest fears and concerns and vulnerability to everyone around you, because that's a bit of a recipe for disaster, because then you don't know how people are going to respond. And usually, as you know by now as an adult, they probably will not respond in the positive way that you hoped that they would. So that's something to really think about. But if you're looking for people to listen to you, then you need to listen to yourself first. You need to own it and give yourself the validation that you're looking for, the acceptance and the understanding inside of yourself first. And then you stop hoping and wishing and praying that people can hear you, because they're having a hard time hearing you because you're not saying what you really mean. And you're not saying what you mean is because you haven't already found that groundedness and that security and that comfort in that inside of yourself. You're still reaching outside looking for that. I have found that when I trust that I'm making the best decision that I know how, that this is my choice, that no one needs to give me permission, and that I will figure it out, it gives me a level of confidence to speak my truth, to communicate in a way that people can hear me that I wouldn't have otherwise. Hi, Cynthia. Great to see you. I wouldn't be able to communicate the deeper parts of me if I felt so vulnerable and so uncomfortable. All right? But when I am comfortable with what I've chosen to do, when I'm comfortable that I am enough, that I'm doing a great job, and that this is my choice, irregardless of how it turns out, it gives me a level of confidence to communicate, and people can hear me better. Because now I'm not trying to communicate from the side, passively or passive-aggressively. I'm not trying to communicate through gestures or small talk. I'm communicating what I'm really thinking and what I'm really saying because I'm confident enough that I'm doing all right and that it's going to be okay because I give myself permission to live my life and be the person that I want. So what I would suggest to you today is when you're feeling like people aren't listening to you, I would suggest that you wait just a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of space. And sometimes it may take a few days. And that's what I end up going through sometimes too. If it's a big trigger, then I have to take a few days in order to really listen to what I'm saying and get back to that core. So if you're feeling like you're misunderstood, if you're feeling like you aren't being heard, I would suggest instead of trying harder or more ways or talking more, I would suggest that you come back to you. And when you come back to you, tell yourself, you know what? I own the fact that I decide how I want to live my life. And I don't need anybody else to validate it. I don't need anybody else to give me permission because I give myself permission. I don't need it from anybody else. And when you make that slight quarter turn, then you express yourself and people can hear you in a much better way. So that's the tip for today. So your homework assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to be open to giving yourself permission to be you. Give yourself permission to own what you think, feel, and want without needing anybody else to validate it, without needing anybody else to tell you that it's okay that you're you. I want you to focus on that and see if it makes you feel different, if it changes your confidence level, and if it changes that felt sense of that core strength. Okay? So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll be talking about how to get people to listen to you all week, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay? Bye.